how important do you think the role of Zainab is in the story of Karbala?
It's a very interesting question. She is crucial in terms of being present to her brother. Mm-hmm. Even if it's just because he needed to have people around him who he knew were with him and supported him. And she was a familiar face, his own sister. So she's important in that role, that she gave unwavering support from the beginning. I mean, there's some dispute over, why did her husband not come to Karbala? But the fact is that she was unwavering, that she was going to support her brother. And that psychologically is of great importance to him. One can say that. She intervenes a number of times, I think 3, on the battlefield. And she's described, so I mean, I go into quite a lot of detail because I'm very moved by this. She's described in the days leading up to Karbala as quite distressed. She hears the enemy army coming and she breaks down. She hears Al-Hussein making this lament about tomorrow so many will be dead, and she breaks down, saying that he's had a vision of his own grandfather saying, you are coming to us, and she breaks down. So she's quite frail and fragile on the eve of the battle. But on the day of the battle, there's a remarkable change, and even the Sunni authors record that she looked like the sun rising as she came out onto the battlefield. And 3 times she walks out of the women's tents right into the middle of the fighting, one to intervene when her nephew is killed. So Ali, the oldest of Hussein's sons, he's killed. A second time she comes out to chase after this little boy at Hussein's command, and she can't catch him. He's too fast for her because he wants to fight with his uncle. And a third time she comes out to challenge the men killing Al-Hussein. And it's this famous challenge where somebody as terrible as Umar bin Saad turns away and weeps because he's challenged by her and he knows that he's so in that sense, she is of great importance, but even more important after the battle because, and this is where I get into trouble, because she was for a short time the leader of the Ahl Bayt. There's no doubt about that. Young Ali bin al-Hussein was much too sick to function immediately after the battle, and his life, in fact, is saved twice.
By his Lady Zainab?
Well, no, not really. By other people. Enemies, even soldiers in the enemy army who intervene against people like Umar and say, you're not going to kill a child. Or against Shimmer, not Umar, Shimmer, and say, you're not going to kill a child. Don't be ridiculous. At least twice, his life is saved. She saves his life later on in the court of, when they're before Ziyad, but that's later on. It's that period of days after Karbala, from the journey between Karbala to Kufa to the court of Yazid, to Damascus. That period, however long it was, and it's difficult to know how long it was, when they were being interrogated and ill-treated, she was the pole around which everything revolved. Absolutely. And there's a particular moment where her nephew, Ali bin al-Hussein, says to her, be quiet now, let me speak. And that, for me, is the moment when he takes his place as imam. He's imam, but when he actually takes his place and takes over leadership of this group. But until then, it is Lady Zainab. And I always defend this by saying, she's not a woman with masculine virtues. Bravery is not a masculine virtue, it's a human virtue. So we don't want to say she was as good as a man. That's a terrible thing for me. She was an extraordinarily powerful woman who betrayed all the great virtues, by betrayed I mean showed forth all the great virtues that are equally right in women as in men. Bravery, courage, the ability to speak with great articulation against injustice. And in a sense, she functioned as the leader of the House of Islam. Now, I mean, of the Ahl Bayt. So I then said to some scholars, could she be said in a sense to have shared in the imama? So I got into a bit of trouble there.
Yeah.
And I understand.
Yeah, because that's
because the imama is something more than that. But she certainly possessed some of the qualities that are crucial to imama. She did. Without being imama, without having the legal power and the jurisprudential power of the imam. She had some of the qualities that are necessary for the imam to function. Of that, I'm sure.
It's a different, obviously, perspective.
Yeah, absolutely, and I understand
from the main Shia theological way.